Howdy, howdy, howdy. What's going on? Let me turn this down because it's loud. Um, Welcome back to a new Creator News Live. I am very, very late tonight, which is funny is because I left work early to start the stream and somehow am what? I was gonna try to start at 9. It's almost midnight, so I'm almost 3 hours late. But it wouldn't be a stream if I wasn't late, because that seems to be the theme we've had for a while now. But today we're talking about the TikTok ban, and we're gonna be covering everything that it has to do with that. I have a lot on the docket for us to cover. So we're gonna get right into it in a little bit. Let me just stop playing music because that's not a good idea. But welcome to the live. We're gonna be covering the TikTok ban. We're gonna be covering, is it really getting banned? What are the possible solutions? What can you do about it? What are the alternatives? Where are we moving after TikTok's over? We're all gonna see and all gonna try to figure it out. But welcome back to a new Creator News Live. If you don't know me, my name is Devin. I cover whatever's going on in the creator economy. So sometimes that's just petty YouTuber drama, or other times it's huge things like this, like the government potentially banning a social media app in the biggest attack on freedom of speech we may have ever seen in the United States. But yeah, let me just check. Okay. Mic seems like it's coming in good. Let me start recording. I forgot to do that, by the way. Got to record these for the YouTube videos as well. But if you didn't know, every Friday, or excuse me, every Sunday, we go live we're aiming for 9 p.m. Pacific time, but we have not hit that time yet. And then on top of that, one other thing, I try to upload a new video at least once a week, covering the creator economy in some ways. Sometimes that's fun stuff, like who's the new Mount Rushmore of YouTube, or a documentary style video on the Hype House and what it was like for the creators there at the time that were using it, like all kinds of cool stuff like that. And then other times it's just stuff where we're just sitting down and like creating a tier list of something, or where recently we covered the honey drama and the honey lawsuit, so clips from that live stream are slowly coming out. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and checking it out. In personal news, I am in California right now, so I've been dealing with the fires. Not too bad for me personally, but has affected a lot of people I know. So it's very scary. It's a very real thing that's been happening. It's tragic. It is the most destructive fire California has ever seen. Over the past like 100 years or so. So, I'm doing well. The fires didn't get to me, obviously, like the whole space seems fine. I did take the Christmas decorations down finally. I had those up for a while. But other than that, as far as personal news, been uploading a lot more recently, so I hope you guys have been enjoying that content that I've been putting out. Other than that, yeah, my week has been taken up by the fires, which has been the main thing and the hardest thing. So we are going to go ahead and get into the TikTok ban. And, for some of you, you may not be in the loop. You're like, you hear the TikTok ban and you're like, what do you mean TikTok is getting banned? Well, this has been coming for many, many years now. I remember being brought up the last time Trump was president. So it's been a good 4 or 5 years of us discussing the TikTok ban. But if you don't know, we do have a recap video here that we're going to go ahead and watch, explaining TikTok ban and how the Supreme Court's affecting it.
Supreme Court justices grilling the lawyers trying to save social media giant TikTok. Representatives for the company arguing that the law requiring TikTok to sever its ties to China or cease operations in the U.S. by January 19th violates free speech protections.
Am I right that the algorithm is the speech here?
Yes, Your Honor. It's basically how we predict what our customers want to see.
Both liberal and conservative members of the court skeptical over the premise that an algorithm is speech.
How are those First Amendment rights really being implicated here?
The court has never held that a foreign government has free speech rights.
And Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson pointing out that the law is not an outright ban.
You're wrong about the statute being read as saying TikTok, you have to go mute. Because TikTok can continue to operate on its own algorithm, on its own terms, as long as it's not associated with ByteDance.
Former TikTok product manager Drew Kirchhoff, who worked with the company for 6 years, told us selling TikTok and keeping it the way it is would be impossible.
Chinese people know how to run it, but in the US, there's nothing like it. There's really no one here that, in my opinion, knows how to run TikTok the way that TikTok runs.
But the Justice Department insists with its ties to China, TikTok, which has 170 million American users, poses a national security threat.
China is a foreign adversary nation that looks for every opportunity it has to weaken the United States.
TikTok's lawyer insisting
We absolutely resist any kind of content manipulation by China at all.
if the law goes into effect, it would ban TikTok from app stores, but not remove it from phones that already have it. Justice Alito asking why users can't just take to a different app.
You know, I'm just wondering whether this is like somebody's attachment to an old article of clothing. I mean, I really love this old shirt because I've been wearing this old shirt, but I could go out and buy something exactly like that. But no, I like the old shirt. Is that what we have here?
So that's one justice's perspective on all of this right here. So what the bottom line is, what is next for TikTok here?
Yeah, so Peter, we're waiting for that final ruling. And before that, though, there is a chance the court could essentially put a pause on the law from going into effect while they continue to deliberate. Because right now, as the law stands, TikTok has just 8 days until they face that ban if its parent company hasn't sold the platform. Now, if you are a TikTok user, this is what it's going to look like. Your app would stop getting updates. That means it's likely going to start to slow down. And an ex-employee who worked on that algorithm tells us he estimates the app would work for at most a few months.
Has an impact on a lot of people. For a lot of people,
Yeah,
this is a business deal. This is how they make a living.
Yeah, the content creators. All right, Stan, I'm glad you were there.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that basically summarizes it. Where we're standing is waiting for the decision of the Supreme Court, and really move to an algorithm argument when it comes to this appeal specifically, because the thing is with this is that the way this is connected to free speech is TikTok has a specific custom algorithm that is unlike what you see on Facebook and Instagram and what you're served there. And basically the argument is that is protected free speech in its determination to show videos to users, which I would 100% agree with. You look at specific things on TikTok compared to Instagram and Facebook. For instance, anything to do with Palestine, anything to do with, the Luigi situation recently. Those things are suppressed on Instagram and Facebook. I have personally seen it on my own Instagram stories when I have shared posts about certain content. I'll get like 6 people that can view that story or something out of thousands of followers. It doesn't make sense. It's because Facebook and Instagram and now X, Twitter are all these super right-wing government sort of backed companies. Obviously, Facebook itself has been under scrutiny over the past probably decade by different justices on what their algorithm shows. However, when it comes to American-owned social media companies, they are way more in the pockets of the government and can be controlled a lot more by the government than something like TikTok, where the algorithm can feed stuff to people in an uncensored way. If people need to organize for something, TikTok is the platform to do that on. You can't do that on Facebook. If you try to put together, a certain event that is anti-government, anti-American, then what they're going to do is Facebook's going to step in and say, nope, we're going to suppress this from reaching people. We're going to suppress this from getting out. And it's BS. And 100%, the way this ban has gotten to the point it has, the law has gotten to the point it has been Zuckerberg simply funneling money into lobbyists to go in and get this thing banned, because obviously TikTok is the biggest competitor to Facebook and Instagram's dominance. Instagram is now an old person app. It is for the unks. TikTok is the new shiny brand new thing that Instagram used to be when Facebook started to die. And now Facebook and Instagram are dying to TikTok, and Zuckerberg simply can't have that because he's a whiny little baby. But with that being said, we've got a couple things to pull up here. Give me a second. So if you don't remember, a lot of these, the first talks of the bans came from the initial hearings. I believe these were about a year ago now, or maybe longer. I believe early, so almost 2 years, honestly, of the court bringing in the CEO of TikTok to talk about this app, talk about like different things, ask them different questions to see if it's an actual security risk. And we got moments like this out of that hearing.
Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the
So if I have
question.
TikTok app on my phone and my phone is on my home Wi-Fi network, does TikTok access that network?
It will have to access the network to get connections to the internet, if that's the question.
Is it possible then that it could access other devices on that home Wi-Fi network?
Congressman, we do not do anything that is beyond any industry norms. I believe the answer to your question is no. It could be technical. Let me get back to you.
Okay, I'd appreciate it if you could answer that. I'd like to change directions real quick. Do you receive personal employment, salary, compensation, or benefits from ByteDance?
Yes, I do.
What is your salary from ByteDance?
Congressman, if you don't mind, I would prefer to keep my compensation private.
Okay. Do you personally have any company shares or stock in ByteDance or Douyin?
Congressman, if you don't mind, I would like to keep my personal assets private.
Yeah, so it's just
Like to keep my
questions like that. It show I can't. Oh, I'm gonna go off on a anti-American tangent just because of I can't stand officials. This guy specifically, what's his name? Hudson. Where's he at? Where's his video? Mr. Hudson, North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. I hate you, Mr. Hudson. You don't represent me at all. Well, I mean, now I live in California, so you don't represent me anyways. But these dumbasses like this who are in Congress, who sit up here and act like they know what they're talking about when this man can't comprehend how Wi-Fi works. And also, he's asking this question. You know what else accesses the home Wi-Fi? Facebook. You know what else accesses the home Wi-Fi? Instagram. Why do we not have concerns about Facebook accessing other devices in the house? Why are we specifically only asking this question to TikTok? And it's not even the worst question that was specifically asked during this hearing, because there's one other one. You
said today, as you often say, that you live in Singapore. Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Your wife is an American citizen. Your children are American citizens.
That's correct.
Have you ever applied for American citizenship?
No, not yet.
Okay. Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions. You
is this Tom Cotton?
Associated or
isn't Tom Cotton North Carolina too? I hate my state. Just literally bringing dumbass after dumbass on here. But it's like they're so ignorant. They're so stupid. We pay every single person watching. You pay money for this man. You pay money for this man to ask the stupidest question on earth. Because there's a clear motive. Like all these politicians, before they ever even started these hearings, the only thing they were told was, hey, we're the lobbyists from Facebook. We'll put some nice money into your pocket as long as you make sure to try to make TikTok look bad, try to make sure it gets banned from this hearing. And they go in and ask these questions, and they're just like, okay, TikTok bad, TikTok China, TikTok communism, TikTok Marxism. Let me ask question. Does TikTok control the home Wi-Fi? It's frustrating, and it shows how disappointing our government is, and it shows that this government is slowly becoming like. But we talk about communist China and how they're censoring the internet and banning apps. That's what we're doing now. We're the one banning the apps. We're the one censoring stuff. We're the one where in 27 states, it is illegal to protest. You heard that right. There are state laws that you cannot protest. As an American, as the freedom people, we can't protest certain things. So it's annoying, it's frustrating, and it's just showing that America is slowly falling into being what many people consider a communist state. But this is what an actual dictatorship looks like, and we're slowly falling into it. But with that being said, we do have a Legal Eagle video that is going to better break down the understanding of why it's getting banned. Specifically, every small little detail about it, if it's justified, or if they're trying to here, and it's up to the Supreme Court to stop it. So Legal Eagle.
Yes, it's true. America has banned TikTok, or at least forced its sale. Yes, the country that loves to tout the First Amendment that prevents government intrusion into the marketplace of ideas and allows people to express themselves has just intruded into social media and potentially is going to prevent a whole bunch of people from actually expressing themselves. And President Joe Biden signed the law because that guy loves ice cream and frickin' hates China. All because the app is allegedly a threat to national security. It's such a threat to national security that no one has actually seen the evidence that says it's a national security threat. Representative Mike Gallagher led the charge against TikTok because he believes it enables China to spy on Americans.
Yeah, this is another thing. There's what's his face, another North Carolina senator. By the way, I hate our state. What's it? Jeff Jackson. Jeff Jackson. That's who it is. Jeff Jackson got elected by using TikTok to promote himself, to have these like fireside chats, sit downs face to face with people to explain issues we're dealing with and problems we're dealing with. Jeff Jackson is the person he is because of TikTok, and then turned around and said, oh, I voted to ban TikTok because I have secret information that you guys don't know about. That's a national security threat. And then we're like, okay, well then what is that secret information? Can you please share with us what the security threat is? Can you please let us know why you're doing this? And they're just like, no, I'm not going to share it. We're banning this app for a dangerous reason, but we can't share the reason with you because it's dangerous. And it's like, what? You know? What do we do about that? Sorry, give me a second. I'm gonna be frustrated this entire stream. Anyways, let's get back to the Legal Eagle video.
Not a ban. Think of this as a surgery designed to remove the tumor.
Gallagher then resigned from Congress to join an American surveillance firm. And while some of you want to know if this is legal or not, what everyone really wants to know is if TikTok is banned, how will we learn about exciting challenges like licking an airplane toilet seat to get coronavirus challenge? Where will kids find readings of Osama bin Laden's letters to America? And what about all those recipes for NyQuil fried chicken? Well, don't freak out yet. The ban has sparked fierce opposition from TikTok and the 170 million Americans who enjoy the app, some of whom rely on the platform for their livelihoods. So the question is it legal to ban an app or force a company to sell to another buyer? Today we're
Yeah, Brandy, exactly. Brandy said, what reason is so dangerous they can't tell us? Like, yeah, like it's bullshit. Like, they're just being BS. All they're doing is being like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg paid us to get this app banned, so, you know, we kind of just got to do it and lie our way through a ban. So, it's just like, they're never going to tell us.
The controversy surrounding TikTok and the efforts to regulate and ban the app, and whether the TikTok bill is constitutional. Now, if you're older than Gen Z or one of the olds trying to shamelessly pander to the youths, then you might have no idea what all the fuss is about. TikTok is a video sharing social media platform that allows users to create and share short-form video clips on basically any topic. TikTok was launched in September of 2016 by the Chinese startup company ByteDance. When ByteDance acquired a rival app called Musical.ly and its 200 million users in 2017, TikTok exploded in popularity. It's now one of the most popular social media platforms with over 1.5 billion.
I will say, I've been around on TikTok for a while. Like, go back to, you can go on my TikTok profile. I'm pretty sure it's linked. Is it? No, or actually, yeah, it is. My TikTok's linked in the description. I have a video posted on there from 2018, and I remember when Musical.ly first became TikTok, and it was still just all Musical.ly users, and it was just people just doing their silly little dances and all this cringe stuff. And then TikTok's first big push onto the platform and what made them grow so much was a bunch of people coming in to make fun of the dancers and the lip syncers and all that, and mock them and be do the same things as them ironically and everything. And it ended up causing the platform to explode, and then eventually people started posting stuff that wasn't dancing, and it's how we got what we have today because of it. So it's pretty interesting to see how far it's come.
Users worldwide. But TikTok is controversial. Lawmakers in the US, Europe, and Canada have pushed to investigate, regulate, or sanction the social media platform over concerns about data privacy, the spread of misinformation, and the lack of adequate safeguards for children. In December of 2022, ByteDance admitted that its employees had inappropriately obtained the data of 2 American reporters on TikTok. ByteDance used TikTok to get access to the IP addresses and other data of 2 reporters and a small number of people connected to the reporters via their TikTok accounts. After the news broke, the DOJ opened an investigation into TikTok's surveillance of journalists. And lawmakers say TikTok is a threat to national security writ large. They fear that ByteDance and TikTok are secretly under the control and direction of the Chinese Communist Party. Critics believe that TikTok and ByteDance can reveal sensitive user data like location information and give it to the Chinese government, and they point to Chinese laws that allow the government to secretly demand data from Chinese citizens and companies for intelligence gathering purposes. And under Chinese law, ByteDance must allow the Chinese government to take a 1% golden share of one of its subsidiaries. And analysts say these golden shares allow the Chinese government to get directly involved in the day-to-day business of tech companies, including the content that they provide to the public. And like most Chinese companies, ByteDance is legally required to establish an in-house Communist Party committee composed of employees who are party members. In a March 2023 congressional hearing, TikTok's CEO did not directly answer questions about whether TikTok was controlled by China, instead saying that the app was not available in China and that it's headquartered in Los Angeles. And although the feds have been concerned about the national security implications of TikTok for a long time, prior attempts to ban the app died in the courts. But we can take a look at the first of these efforts, which was Donald Trump's executive orders that tried to force a sale. In fact, we did a whole video on that 4 years ago. God, I've aged so much. But in sum, the US government first attempted to ban TikTok back in August of 2020. At the time, then President Trump issued 2 executive orders. The first order prohibited ByteDance from making any transactions with US citizens within 45 days.
That was also like, it's a crazy time. Like, to think we've been having this conversation for over 4 years. Multiple presidents on both sides, Democrat and Republican, Trump and Biden, coming in and saying we need to ban this app with no explanation behind it. With you know, because they're just like, oh, it can access your data. Facebook can access your data too. Not gonna say anything about that.
The second order demanded that ByteDance sell its U.S. assets within 90 days. Both of those orders relied on the president's emergency powers to act on behalf of national security under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA. The IEPA authorizes the president to investigate, regulate, and prohibit certain financial transactions following a declaration of an unusual and extraordinary threat originating outside the United States. Now, 2 separate federal judges, one appointed by Trump and one appointed by Obama, intervened to block the orders from taking effect. In October of 2020, U.S. District Judge Wendy Beadlestone of Pennsylvania blocked the forced divestiture executive order. The plaintiffs were 3 TikTok influencers with millions of followers on the app and who made at least $10,000 a month from short-form videos. Judge Beadlestone held that the government had failed to justify Trump's use of emergency powers to target TikTok. Quote, the government's own descriptions of the national security threat posed by the TikTok app are phrased in the hypothetical. The government notes that TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, has significant and close ties to the CCP, which could potentially be leveraged to further the CCP's agenda. It states that one of the risks posed by TikTok is the possibility that the PRC government could compel TikTok to provide systemic access to U.S. users' sensitive personal information. The court cannot say that the risk presented by the government outweighs the public interest in enjoining the order when plaintiffs have established a clear likelihood that the identification's prohibitions contravene IEPA. Judge Beadlestone ruled that the government failed to show that TikTok was a pressing national security threat. Then, in December 2020, D.C. District Court Judge Carl Nichols, a Trump appointee, blocked the outgoing administration's attempt to ban TikTok in the U.S. In that case, the Commerce Department had sought to prevent TikTok from being downloaded in app stores and to outlaw transactions between Americans and ByteDance. But according to Judge Nichols, Trump's crackdown against the app was, quote, arbitrary and capricious because the order intended to put TikTok out of business. The judge ruled that the Trump administration failed to, quote, adequately consider an obvious and reasonable alternative before banning TikTok. So with Trump's orders dead on arrival, state lawmakers decided to pass their own bans. For example, in 2023, Montana banned TikTok from operating within its borders. The Montana law would impose a $10,000 penalty on TikTok or any mobile application store for, quote, each time that a user...
Does this look like freedom to you? Does using a mobile app deserve a $10,000 in the land of the free? And also, it's like, you can't really police this, by the way. Like, it is so rigid. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they try to police. Well, I was going to say it's going to be interesting how they try to police it when the national ban goes in. But the reality is that the national ban doesn't have any laws of citizens being prohibited from using the app. It simply just says the company is not allowed to operate and the company will get the penalty.
Accesses TikTok is offered the ability to access TikTok or is offered the ability to download TikTok. And the Montana legislature cited 2 reasons for the ban: Chinese communism and child welfare. The preamble says that China is, quote, an adversary of the United States and therefore has an interest in spying on citizens of Montana. And the state alleged that China directs ByteDance to share user information, including real-time physical locations of users. And it goes on, quote, TikTok fails to remove and may even promote dangerous content that directs minors to engage in dangerous activities, including but not limited to throwing objects at moving automobiles, taking excessive amounts of medication, lighting a mirror on fire, then attempting to extinguish it using...
But it's like those things have been around forever, right? Do we remember all the challenges back in the day on YouTube and Facebook? Like, these things were going on in 2014. You know, there are, you know, the one, was it Slender Man? The Slender Man challenge, or some similar challenge to Slender Man that, you know, caused the death of a couple girls or one girl or something. I don't remember the full story. But it's like these trends, these dangerous trends, these dumb trends have happened on all social media, not just TikTok. You can't say TikTok is failing to remove this when in reality, from what I've seen, TikTok does do a pretty good job of removing dangerous content like this. And then on top of that, it's like, are you not going to go after YouTube and Facebook for doing the exact same thing?
Using only one's body parts, inducing unconsciousness through oxygen deprivation, cooking chicken in NyQuil, pouring hot wax on a user's face, attempting to break an unsuspecting passerby's skull by tripping him or her into landing face first into a hard surface, placing metal objects and electrical outlets, swerving cars at high rates of speed, smearing human feces on toddlers, licking doorknobs and toilet seats to place oneself at risk of contracting coronavirus, attempting to climb stacks of milk crates, shooting passerbys with air rifles, loosening lug nuts on vehicles, and stealing utilities from public places. And yeah, it sounds bad when you put it that way, but that's kind of a list of a whole bunch of expressive conduct, and you might not like what the expressive conduct is, but that's kind of the point of freedom of expression, right? You can find a whole lot of stuff on the internet or on television that is arguably bad for your health. But that content is mostly protected by the First Amendment. So it's not surprising that several individuals and groups sued to block enforcement of that law. The individual plaintiffs used TikTok to promote their goods and services, and they allege that the Montana ban violated their First Amendment rights to post content on the platform. TikTok also sued on the basis that the Montana law SB 419 infringed on its First Amendment right to make editorial choices over content curation. In response, Montana argued that their law is about child welfare and consumer protection, and that it didn't implicate the First Amendment at all. The plaintiffs sought a temporary injunction barring the law from taking effect while the litigation was pending. And for a preliminary injunction to be issued, the plaintiffs have to show that they're likely to succeed on the merits and the possibility of irreparable harm if the injunction is not granted, and that they'll suffer more serious hardships than the state if the law were not enjoined. And the district court said that, quote, it is unnecessary to precisely categorize SB 19 as a content-based or content-neutral time, place, or manner restriction, because it is likely that the bill is, at the very least, a regulation of expressive conduct that triggers intermediate scrutiny. Now, as we've talked about many times on this channel, often the whole ballgame is what level of scrutiny is applied to a bill. To pass intermediate scrutiny, a law must both, quote, advance important governmental interests unrelated to the suppression of free speech, not burden substantially more speech than is necessary to further those interests, and leave open ample alternative channels for communication of the information. But Judge Donald Malloy ruled that the Montana TikTok ban failed all three prongs of intermediate scrutiny. First, the court rejected the state's theory that it had any claimed interest in national security or foreign affairs. Second, the court found that SB 19 burdens substantially more speech than is necessary. This is apparent on the law's face. SB 19 completely bans TikTok in Montana. It does not limit the application in a targeted way with the purpose of attacking the perceived Chinese problem. Although states do have a legitimate state interest in protecting children from harm, this interest does not include a free-floating power to restrict the ideas to which children may be exposed.
Yeah, it's like the same argument of saying, oh, we got to ban all movies that have guns in them because kids don't need to be using guns, or we have to ban talk about drug use because drug use is bad. It's like, you can't do that. And it's just like, I don't understand why the same people that want to tout freedom of speech also want to turn around and ban anything that they don't like and that makes them mad, you know? It's just like, of course, like this wouldn't hold up in court. And, you know, if we didn't have a corrupt system, the current ban would not hold up either.
Exposed. And Montana failed to even address the child protection justification in its briefing. Montana also argued that it had a substantial state interest in protecting consumers from TikTok's harmful data collection practices. But the state, quote, has yet to provide any evidence to support that argument, and the court concluded that the law burdens substantially more speech than is necessary. During the same legislative session that resulted in SB 419, the legislature also passed SB 384, the Montana Data Privacy Act, which protects Montana citizens from unsafe data collection practices by social media companies in the state. The Data Privacy Act also applies to TikTok, which means that an outright ban is probably unnecessary to achieve Montana's consumer protection goals. And the court also noted that Meta and other social media apps collected the same kind of data as TikTok.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from Montana.
Because of its direct connection to a specific foreign nation. At best, the state's comparison is weak. At worst, it is reflective apply a legal standard called strict scrutiny. When a court applies strict scrutiny, the government must show that the law is the least restrictive means.
Let's watch this part.
Curtailing massive amounts
then we're
of
gonna move on.
speech. Unlike broadcast television and radio stations, which require government licenses to operate because they use the public airwaves, the government cannot, consistent with the First Amendment, dictate the ownership of newspapers, websites, online platforms, and other privately created speech forums. The company says that the court should review the law using strict scrutiny, as we discussed. And this will be interesting because it seems like ByteDance does have a First Amendment interest in its editorial and publishing activities on TikTok. The company argues that the act clearly, quote, represents a content and viewpoint-based restriction on protected speech. The act discriminates on a content basis because it exempts platforms whose primary purpose...
So, yeah, this is the algorithm argument of we have to, an algorithm on social media is freedom of speech. We determine what content and what content doesn't. This is the same exact thing as like normal journalism and having, opinion pieces, right? This would be like a company stepping in and saying, hey, Mr. Mr. Black Journalism of Chicago, you are not allowed to exclusively publish opinionated pieces that are pro-black movement or whatever. That would not hold up in court. That would be a massive violation of freedom of speech, So why can you turn around and say the same thing about an algorithm and say, hey, we don't like the views you're pushing, you can't really push anything about Luigi without being banned. It's like, come on, dog. Like, we're violating our own laws and destroying our own constitution. America's not what it was.
Is to host specific types of content. Product reviews, business reviews, or travel information and reviews. The act thus distinguishes favored speech, i.e. speech concerning travel information and business reviews, from disfavored speech, i.e. all other types of speech, including particularly valuable speech like religious and political content. And as if to prove their point, members of Congress publicly stated that they voted for the act because of political speech that appeared on TikTok. Representative Mike Flood said that TikTok should be banned because the kids are making videos about the literary works of Osama bin Laden. Representative...
Once again, freedom of speech. If you want to have a conversation about what Osama bin Laden has written in his manifesto, I believe, that was surfacing for a while. If you want to have a conversation about that and dissect that, in America, you should be able to be allowed to do that. You should not be allowed to step in and say, oh, no, we can't talk about that. That's a little anti-American, And same thing with Gaza. Like, why? I mean, it is technically illegal in a bunch of states that you're not allowed to protest Israel. But that hypocrisy aside, like, why are we not allowed to talk about Gaza at all? It's BS. I hate this. I hate everything.
Mike Lawler said that pro-Palestine propaganda on TikTok inspired protests on college campuses, and that was one of the reasons he was pushing the ban.
Hey, look, listen, we've got to ban TikTok, it's not a violation of freedom of speech. However, TikTok has caused people to, which, as everyone knows in the United States, is not free speech, Protesting is not protected by freedom of speech in America, especially if you're protesting Israel. Come on.
at the postings on TikTok and the number of mentions of Palestinians relative to other social media sites, it's overwhelmingly so among TikTok.
Now, can the government prove a compelling state?
I wonder why Mr. Mitt Romney, Mr. Lost Obama, like, I genuinely wonder why one specific platform is talking about it more. Is it that that platform is purposely shoving that out more? Or could it possibly be that the other platforms are suppressing that being discussed? Who knows? Who can really tell, you know?
Interest. Well, theoretically, yes, national security is a legitimate, compelling state interest. However, quote, to do so, the government must do more than simply posit the existence of the disease sought to be cured. Rather, it must demonstrate that the recited harms are real, not merely conjectural, and that the regulation will in fact alleviate these harms in a direct and material way. ByteDance points out that the government's list of potential harms is speculative and theoretical. The company points to a House committee report that says TikTok could, quote, potentially be allowing the CCP to track the locations of federal employees and contractors. The same report raises the, quote, possibility.
Now look, and you know, I understand, like, if the government wants to ban TikTok off of government devices, you know, like, have at it, you know? Don't come after the consumer. Don't come after the US citizen because of it. If you truly believe that the CCP is tracking government officials, then ban it on the government apps. But now you're specifically coming after the citizens because you don't want them to know specific information. You as America, the freedom country, are trying to control your citizens and tell them you are not allowed to watch these videos. That's what it is. That is the whole point behind it is, hey, we're no longer talking about the CCP tracking our location or accessing our home devices. We are now saying we're simply banning this on the sole basis of we don't like the videos that it's showing because it calls out us and it keeps us from being able to get richer as politicians. Mark Zuckerberg is paying all of us, so we got to follow what he's asking us to do. But yeah, I'm not going to watch that video anymore. It's frustrating. But we are going to talk about what TikTok has responded with, which is is Rutter's a subscription? I just saw it pop up. No? Okay. Anyway, TikTok warns of a broad consequences if Supreme Court allows ban. This is just from today. So, the lawmakers for TikTok and its Chinese parent company ByteDance offered a warning during Supreme Court arguments over a law that would compel the sale of the short video app or ban in the United States. If Congress could do this to TikTok, it could come after other companies too, which is 100% what's going to happen. You know, there's plenty of other Chinese companies they can come after. You know, the drones, DJI, they're next. They're going to be gone next. I can't think of any others off the top of my head right now. I'm sure this article may mention them, but you know, AMC movies right here actually is an example. AMC movie theaters could be technically banned with this law. Will they now? Maybe not immediately, because that would cause a riot if we just banned everything connected to China. We got to start small. We got to punish TikTok and show them who's boss. But this is definitely going to happen. Like, TikTok is not going to be the only company to get banned. But more bans are going to come after this. Noel Francisco, representing TikTok and ByteDance, argued that the Supreme Court's endorsement of this law could enable statutes targeting other companies on similar grounds. AMC movie theaters used to be owned by a Chinese company. Under this theory, Congress could order AMC movie theaters to censor any movies that Congress doesn't like or promote. Yep, there it is, coming after freedom of speech even more in any way that involves media publication. The justices signaled through their questions during the arguments that they were inclined to uphold the law, although some expressed some serious concerns about its First Amendment implications. TikTok is a platform used by 170 million people in the United States, roughly half the country's population. Congress passed the measure last year with overwhelming bipartisan support. I wonder why we can't agree on feeding our own citizens, or adding more housing in America, or lowering the rent costs or the groceries costs, but we can somehow all agree on banning TikTok. Kind of sus, you know? Lawmakers cited the risk of Chinese government exploiting TikTok to spy on Americans and carry out covert influence operations. Basically, putting things out there that America wants to control and keep you from seeing. The same thing they accuse China of doing. Jeffrey Fisher, the lawyer representing TikTok content creators, who also have challenged the law, noting that the Supreme Court's argument that Congress, with this measure, was focusing on TikTok and not major Chinese online retailers, including Temu. Oh, don't worry, Temu will get banned eventually. Like I said, TikTok is the tip of the iceberg. It is going to be TikTok. It is going to be DJI drones. It's going to be Temu. It's going to be whatever after. All of it's going to get banned eventually under this law, because it gives them the ability to, without having to go through more and more hearings just like this one. Would a Congress that is really worried about these very drastic risk levels out an e-commerce site like Temu that has 70 million Americans using it? Fisher asked. It's very curious why you just single out TikTok alone and not other companies with tens of millions of people having their own data taken. Yeah, that's another thing. They're saying, oh, TikTok is stealing everybody's data. Temu's doing the exact same thing then, you know? But why is this not called the Temu ban? Why is this called the TikTok ban specifically? Well, it comes down to there are more problems with TikTok other than, just selling you some cheap child labor products. It goes deeper than that. It goes to a level of, hey, we don't like the messaging on here because it puts us as Congress people in danger. Democrat President Joe Biden signed the measure into law, and his administration is defending it in this case. The deadline is just one day before Republican Donald Trump, who opposes the ban, takes office as Biden's successor. Keep in mind, Trump is the first ever person that introduced the idea of a ban for TikTok with an executive order that did not get upheld. So, with that being said, Trump is now seen as the more pro-TikTok guy. Biden was the one that signed the law that would allow for the ban of it. And Trump seemed to be on board with that until recently, when he's realized, one, that banning TikTok is a very unpopular thing. If it happens under his presidency, it's going to hurt his approval rating a lot. But two, he's talked about specifically how he believes TikTok was helping him to win the election, and how many views he got on TikTok and everything, and all the edits and the Aiden Ross videos and all that. So he's kind of got a little bit of a soft heart for TikTok because of that. Anyway, foreign adversaries. Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar argued for the Biden administration in defending the law, said it was crucial that it take effect on January 19th, as scheduled, in order to force ByteDance to act in divestiture, which means, hey, can you sell this? Hey, Mr. Kevin O'Leary would like to buy your company. Can you please do this as quickly as possible? And then what happens when TikTok says no? Foreign adversaries do not willingly give up their control over their mass communication channels in the United States, Grelogger said. When push comes to shove and these restrictions take effect, I think it will be fundamentally change the landscape with respect to what ByteDance is willing to consider. And it might just be just the jolt that Congress expected the company would need to actually move forward and divestiture the process. So basically, they're trying to say, hey, like, we really, really want to be able to control what's put on TikTok. Personally, I think Congress would much rather TikTok stay around and be able to control the algorithm than just banning it in its entirety. I feel like there are much deeper consequences when it comes to banning it its entirety, including, public outrage. So, we have not even seen what's going to happen yet when people get on their apps one day and they can't access the thing that gives them joy. So that's why the government would much rather them sell it to a billionaire like Kevin O'Leary. If the ban takes effect on January 19th, Apple and Alphabet's Google would no longer be able to offer TikTok for download for new users, but existing users could still access the app. Like I've said before, January 19th is not going to you're not going to wake up one day and open the TikTok app and it's just black. It's simply, from what we've seen, TikTok could be around for months after January 19th. So, it's going to slow down. You're not going to be able to get updates for it anymore. If you're not already on TikTok, you're not going to be able to access it at all. You can't download it. But, January 19th, January 20th, rest of January, I'm sure of, you will still be able to hop on TikTok and post videos and comment and everything. But over time, it's slow. The app's going to slowly start to fall apart if this goes through. But yeah, the U.S. government and TikTok agree that the app would degrade and eventually become unusable over time because companies would not be able to offer supporting services. That's another thing. You will no longer be able to advertise on TikTok, I believe, as a U.S. company. The Supreme Court also debated. Well, my lights just went out. Give me a second. I have them set on a timer, but it's not bedtime for me yet. There we go. I am really tired though. I'm going to try to end this stream a little earlier than expected, but I want to get through everything and make sure I'm covering everything right. Even though I don't really think anyone's watching, but whatever. Anyways, look, everybody manipulates content, Francisco told the court. There are lots of people who think CNN, Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times are manipulating their content, which they are, That is a core protected speech. Yeah. Trump, on December 27th, urged the court to put a hold on the January 19th deadline to give his incoming administration the opportunity to pursue a political. Basically, Trump thinks he can come in and force the sale and pin TikTok wall and say, hey, you have to sell or I'm going to make sure you get banned. And, the reality is that TikTok would lose so much business if they are banned in the U.S. They have plenty of users outside the U.S., and I feel like they could still survive as an app. But it would completely destroy them and devastate them if you can't have U.S. users and U.S. dollars going into the TikTok shop and everything. But yeah, under the law, the U.S. president has the power to extend the January 19th deadline for 90 days, but under circumstances that do not appear to apply to the current situation in which ByteDance has made no apparent effort to sell TikTok's U.S. assets. The law mandates that the president certify that significant progress has been made towards the sale. And what we're seeing right now is TikTok putting their heels in the sand and saying, nope, we are not going to steal. We're going to stand our ground, and you know, we believe we have legal rights here, which they do. Regardless, Trump does not become president until the day after the deadline. Justice Brett Kavanaugh asked Prelog. How do you say that name? I've been reading it a few times. Logar, whatever. Whether the president could say that we're not going to enforce the law. I think as a general matter, of course, the president has enforcement discretion, Prelogger says. Again, that's one of the reasons why I think it makes perfect sense to issue a preliminary injunction here and simply buy everybody a little bit of breathing space, Francisco said. So we haven't seen that yet, and it's still looking like we're not going to see that, you know. It is January 13th now. It's a new day. It's early morning hours. So we are now less than a week until the TikTok ban. We are 6 days until TikTok ban. So the question is there going to be any movement in the Supreme Court? Is Trump going to step in any way? He doesn't have any power necessarily. He just has the influence, but you know, he does have a pretty solid grip on the Supreme Court compared to Biden. So we'll see, you know. But one thing trying to be forced to happen is a sale to Mr. Kevin O'Leary. Make TikTok wonderful again. I want to I hate everything. Kevin O'Leary explains his plan to save the social media platform. Mr. Wonderful, who is not that wonderful, is partnering up with another investor in a bid to save TikTok and hopes China and the Supreme Court will allow them to make it wonderful again. The Shark Tank star is teaming up with Project Library founder Frank McCourt to purchase the platform's U.S. assets from its... Don't dox my email, please. And rebuild the platform in a way that prioritizes the privacy of 170 million U.S. Americans. The TikTok is facing a potential ban due to the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversaries Controlled Applications Act, a law signed by President Biden. One of many horrible things President Biden has done. I want to work with him, McCourt, because he's done far more work on the algorithm, and he lets me be a big part of this deal so that we can buy TikTok without buying the Chinese spyware, O'Leary told the Monday show, the Big Monday show. TikTok has faced controversy over it being a Chinese-based company. Does Kevin O'Leary say anything that's actually important? The reason TikTok is about to get canceled in the United States is because of algorithms that let you spy, O'Leary said. Not how really an algorithm works, but okay. Explaining how he and McCourt would restructure the platform so that users could decide whether to share their data with TikTok or not. Okay, then you don't have an algorithm. What do you mean? Don't share your data. That's how it works, is your viewing history. What are you getting then? Just basic homepage TikTok for a new user every single time you log in. That sounds like Facebook. Under their ownership, O'Leary argued users that elected to share their data would get paid. If they do share it and they want to monetize it, they would get a piece of the advertising action. Kind of interesting, you know? Let's actually hear him out on that. I think that's fantastic. We're going to make this thing work the way the market wants it to work, and then we're going to take it all around the world. If their bid to acquire the social media platform is successful, O'Leary explained how they could change the platform to better align with U.S. interest. Oh no. Besides giving users ownership of their data and stripping out the Chinese spyware, the investors emphasized TikTok has the potential to grow its 170 million users past 200 million. Of course. They don't need the help of Kevin O'Leary to do that. We've got to get everybody back that doesn't trust it and wouldn't put it on their phone. And the way to do that is democratize it. Allow people to invest besides us, O'Leary said on Varney & Co. on Fox Business. The thing I think everybody's going to find attractive, including Trump, is we're going to open it so it's an interoperative. So if you're posting on Truth Social or on X, click here to populate TikTok. Huh? Why are we using those as the examples? Hold on. What's going on? Everybody would want to do that. And we would ask others like Instagram and Meta, let's do the same thing. Let's share 2 ways. I don't really get that. What's he trying to say? We're going to open it so that it's interoperative. So if you're posting on Truth Social or on X, click here to populate TikTok. So you're just taking your awful post from Twitter or Truth Social and sharing it to TikTok? What do you mean by that? They already kind of have that built into social media apps, and it sucks. The post to Facebook feature on Instagram is awful. This thing will become the world's largest television network in a matter of 2 years, O'Leary said about TikTok. That sounds awful. Why are we comparing it to a television network? O'Leary and McCourt's bid will be impacted by the Supreme Court's much anticipated ruling to ban the platform unless it's divested, and then ByteDance's willingness to do so if their hand is forced. The High Court has heard oral arguments on Friday in a fast-track case ahead of President-elect Trump's return to the White House the day after on Inauguration Day. So yeah, obviously, Kevin O'Leary buying the platform would be a bad thing. He would ruin the algorithm. Freedom of speech would be suppressed. Don't get that twisted in any way. Don't think just because he's coming in to save it and make sure TikTok stays in America doesn't mean it's going to be the same TikTok. It is going to be a TikTok where your freedom of speech is strongly controlled, because obviously, living in America, we have no freedom of speech, of course. But we've got one last video to watch, and people have been talking about, you know, what's a potential
I don't even know if this app
sorry,
would be safe from
hold on,
the
give me a
ban,
second.
But even if it was, it just doesn't operate the same way.
Let me pull this up. I am dog. My brain is clouded. Oh, I need to go to bed. But we're gonna watch this video first. It's short. We can get through it. I've been up since 6 a.m. and it's now 2 a.m. Ooh. But I wanted to cover this. So, people have been talking about Well, if TikTok gets banned, then where are we going to go next? You know, nobody wants to go to Facebook. Nobody wants to go back to Instagram. You know, people would rather throw their phones in the ocean than watch an Instagram reel over a TikTok. So where do we go after this? Well, there's been one app being advertised on TikTok, and it's called Lemon8. You've probably seen it in people's profiles, a little link to their Lemon8, or you've gotten a notification saying, hey, your friend's inviting you to Lemon8. So what is Lemon8? Well, we got a video from Swell Entertainment that she did 3 weeks ago that is kind of covering what really is Lemon8. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this.
That's it. That's my intro. Hey, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about Lemon8, an app that is now completely integrated with TikTok that everyone is talking about taking the place of TikTok if TikTok does in fact get banned. For those of you who don't know, the US government wants to ban TikTok for a myriad of reasons that they are claiming they care about, other than the fact that they don't like that, you know, they are not the ones collecting data on their citizens. That's a whole thing. TikTok has been trying to fight the ban. Let's talk about what the ban first means. What will most likely happen on the day of the ban is that the app will no longer be able to be downloaded or updated via the App Store. The app itself is not going to be deleted from your phone, and you will still have functionality for the app for at least a bit, if not longer, after January.
Yeah, we've already been over all of this. And I don't know how long it will be around for, you know. I'm saying at least through the February, and we'll see what it looks like in February. I don't see us having TikTok come May, you know. That's one thing. So it's disappointing.
It sounds scarier than it mostly is. I don't think they have the ability to just straight up turn off the app in its entirety on January 19th, nor do I think that is what's going to happen. But everyone has been panicking and been talking about Lemon8. Lemon8 is now totally integrated with the TikTok accounts. So straight up, I was able to log in to Lemon8 via my TikTok account, and I am able to follow the same accounts that I was following on TikTok via Lemon8. Editing Amanda is here already because this...
Okay, before she gets into her next point, that is a big thing. Having the ability, just like Threads and Instagram, having the ability for followers over to a new platform is one of the biggest things I've ever seen. You know, and it's a good feature. I think more social media apps should have that integrated and partner like that to be able to do that. Because, you know, whenever, like we saw it in the old times with I'm Vine. I'm so tired right now. We saw it with Vine a lot when Vine shut down. A lot of people just kind of disappeared off the internet because they tried to go start new platforms on YouTube or Instagram, and they just didn't have the same followers they had on Vine. So they kind of just fizzled out and died. So I think having a feature where you're able to take your TikTok followers and move them over to a new app like Lemon8 is one huge selling point.
App, I hate it. I hate this app so much. I downloaded the app like the night before I filmed this video, okay? And I played around with it a little bit. I scrolled around, okay? Having this app and turning it on and linking it to my TikTok has just annoyed the ever-loving hell out of me. They're claiming you are integrated with TikTok. Now, like I'm going to talk about, it makes it so that you are able to follow all the accounts that you were following on TikTok on Lemon8 once they join Lemon8. So people are assuming that this means that they will be able to transfer their follower counts from TikTok over to Lemon8. This does not transfer, is your body of content from TikTok to Lemon8. You have to start from scratch. And people can obviously say no or unfollow. So yes, in theory, you will get a bunch of followers, but we've also seen this with Threads where people's follower counts on Threads is not identical to what they have on Instagram. It's not a copy and paste of the number. That's not how that works. But also, the way that they do this is incredibly goddamn annoying because Lemon8, since I have made my account, has started alerting my mutuals and people that I follow saying that I am requesting to follow them on Lemon8 and that they should make a Lemon8 account. Numerous of my friends have messaged me being like, hey, are you trying to get me to join Lemonade? Because it has sent them multiple alerts. Insane, annoying, infuriating, okay? That was one thing. The other thing that ticked me off above all else is that TikTok has the ability for you to put links in your bio, okay? And usually there's one link on top, you can make it a drop-down link and you can show a couple. I went to go update that link in bio on TikTok because I had the Tiltify link for Creators for Palestine. Now Creators for Peace, we are doing a live event January 31st to benefit Palestine via Operation Olive Branch. Bunch of creators are gonna be involved. It's gonna be great. But I went to go put that up to put up the donation link and the ticket sales link, okay? And what do I find when I get there? Lemonade had changed my top link. It wasn't my beacons, it wasn't the Tiltify link. It was a link promoting that I was on Lemonade. It was a Lemonade link. They did not alert me to this change. They did not give me the option to turn this off. I could reorder the link.
That does seem insane. And I've seen it on a lot of TikTok profiles recently. When you go on a TikTok profile, you will specifically see that the link has been changed for anyone that is signed up for it. And I think it's kind of like TikTok's contingency plan of like, oh, let's try to get as many people over on this app as possible. So maybe we can
links. I was able to do that, but they did not say, hey, we updated your links. There was no pop-up alert. They just changed my links. Because why? They know that people are panicking and promoting their other socials, and so they are putting that Lemon8 link on top because they know people are like, oh, go ahead and click the link in my bio to follow me on other platforms, etc. And that's why they put that up there. It's annoying. It could have been a separate button because, oh, it's so integrated. But no, they delisted all the other links, and now I'm annoyed. Fuck Lemonade. Why is it called that? Do not ask. I have no idea. Okay, but even before this, Lemonade was something. Something that was always recommended to me via Pinterest videos. It was always pitched to me as a Pinterest alternative, not a TikTok alternative. So on the last day, I have gotten another followers on Lemonade. There's no posts or anything. I literally put in my bio. Truly just investigating this app for a video, because that's literally it. So it's asking me to make a post, so I'm making a post, and I just picked a photo of me that was posted by Marvel at an event I was at. There's Chris, there's two creators I don't know, and then me in the background. And then it gives me a bunch of templates. So we've got trendy self-intro. Who am I? Can I edit these? There's me in the background. There we go. Okay, let's do that. Text, room hacks, nail inspo, clean vibe. Notice the vibes here. They're all very girly. Even just the text options here. Outfit idea, glowy skin, my foodie spot. specific type of content that these are, you know, making me think of. You can think of what you watch on TikTok all you want. TikTok as a platform is a very diverse platform. Demographics, identities, what people want to consume and watch on TikTok and things like that. This is eliciting a very specific type of content aesthetic and style that is just not what TikTok is. Hashtag ads, places, caption ideas. Is this AI? Oh no, it's just literally 75 soft, day 20. My morning and wellness routine. What I eat in a day, home edition. This is just very girly based, which I don't think is the move. Like, again, it's fine. Pinterest is not just an app that's like girly content or anything like that, but that is mostly who it's used by. And then same goes with TikTok. There's, yes, a lot of girly content on TikTok, but it's, again, a very diverse platform. This is eliciting a very specific type of content. Here's my For You page on Lemonade. These are all the different topics that I suggested. Oh, cool. So the topics that I selected when I first opened the app, those were irrelevant because why is it still referencing education and maternity tips here? How to read stocks. And it's just this. And then there's no swipe ability here. Apps I use as a stay-at-home mom. I also want to make it abundantly clear I'm not criticizing any of the content that I am seeing via Lemonade on these creators. I'm talking about the app as a functionality and the app as a replacement for TikTok. It just does not function the same. How much do you all pay in rent? This is just a stolen video. So Amanda Finance just steals video, apparently. Yeah, so that's one girl in the thumbnail. A bunch of other people in the videos, they're just ripping off people's content. The videos are tagged with the play sign, obviously. But then once you click one, then you start operating as a TikTok style For You page where you just scroll to the next videos within the same topic, which is more TikTok style, okay? But again, I'm on the For You page. I would like just a scrolling feed of videos. But this is very... very similar in that it's a very thin, there is a bar obviously here that it breaks up the actual scrolling ability with an actual like gap bar here versus TikTok where it's a constant loop of content. So that's the money tips. Let me go back to the For You feed. Here's my following feed. Some of these people I'm like, did I even know? Oh, I was following you. Who are you? Even the following feed, like these aren't auto playing. How I lemon on Lemonade. Like even if I want to scroll between feeds, it just starts going through the comments. Looking for a video so I can see how this does. Okay, 30-day content challenge. Food, building things, food. I'm doing this on purpose because I'm trying to see how much it adapts to me just scrolling and sitting here. But even just scrolling through this feed, okay, for the all section on the For You feed, it's all very, now again, I'm a woman, okay? I like girly content, so that's why it's like this. But even then, that's not what I get on TikTok. I don't just get girly content. I get a variety of content. I get trending news. I get tech videos. I get event stuff. I get things that you guys tag me in. I get a variety of content. Is this the only man I've seen? It's a food video, but it's a man. Turnip vegan. Was it just him? Yeah, so one man, okay. So at the end of the day, like I said, this is a Pinterest-based app. Pinterest is predominantly women users. And so, not to say that there aren't men on there and that there aren't men that aren't using it for business and the like, but it is predominantly, the user base is women using Pinterest. And that's why it's not surprising me that Lemonade is predominantly women users. But that also makes it so that this this video, hi, it's not a viable replacement for TikTok. And my point in the intro about this may not even be saved from the ban. My understanding is that the ban is actually for every app related to ByteDance. And so that would mean that not even just TikTok, but anything owned by ByteDance could also be banned, including CapCut. And I believe Lemonade as well, if it's owned by ByteDance, but I don't know. But it's very integrated with TikTok, like I said. Let me go to the search feed and let me search something. They recommended college major advice, dating advice, editor's picks, Lemonade Diary, Lemonade Book Club, Lemonade Christmas, Merry Quizmas, My 2024. Lemonade posts that everyone can see are shown in search results on TikTok. You can turn this off anytime in settings. So then that dumb thing I just posted. Congrats on becoming a Lemonade creator. We will send you insight reports, dear God. So that stupid post, is that on my TikTok now, actually? Let me double check. That would be annoying. Okay, it doesn't appear to be on there, so that's good at least. Let me go back to the search feed. Let me search something that's like very car focused towards men. So I searched up just car. Top girly cars you'll love. Volkswagen Beetles, just different types of cars. Okay, girly content. Fair, fine. My overall consensus, this is not a replacement for TikTok. Despite, let me search up TikTok, Lemonade on TikTok. Let me search that up for you. So when I search up Lemonade, the first thing is a sponsored Lemonade video promoting it. Now he's saying that Lemonade has the same algorithmic magic as TikTok. I disagree. Again, I haven't spent a ton of time on the app. So the thing with the algorithm on TikTok is that it learns you. The For You page is for you. It learns based off of your scrolling and things like that. And so if it can do that, that's great. But if there's not enough of a variety of creators making that content, then most users like Guy. Users are not going to stay on the platform because there's not content being served for them, made for them. This is a lot of girly creators making girly content, which is fine. Fine, there's not a problem with that, but that makes it so that this is not a viable substitution for TikTok. So let me search up Lemonade again on the App Store. Who's the developer of Lemonade? According to the App Store, TikTok Ltd. Like I said, I believe Lemonade would also be included in the ban. Lemonade is a lifestyle community-focused app powered by TikTok where you can discover and share authentic content, a variety of topics such as beauty, fashion, travel, food, and more. You can edit and share photos. So again, this is just overall the functionality, not the same as TikTok. The discoverability, it doesn't appear to be the same as TikTok. The user base, not currently the same as TikTok, which again, has to start somewhere, but still. The variety and style of content, not the same as TikTok. And just overall, not the same as TikTok. This is not a viable or
Yeah.